After Caitlin Clark's injury, ticket prices have gone down 75%, which we knew would happen because if Caitlin's not there, we don't.
Obviously, we've seen that Caitlin Clark is injured, so the get-in price for the Sky versus Fever game on June 7th was $86, literally 48 hours ago. Now it's down to $25 after it was announced that Caitlin Clark was injured. So this is a 71% drop in ticket prices just because of Caitlin Clark's injury alone.
Angel Reese just walked into an arena so empty you could hear a popcorn kernel hit the floor twice. No Caitlin Clark, no fans, no mercy. Reese went into full meltdown mode, and trust us, it was more dramatic than a Real Housewives reunion. What happened when Queen Reese realized she wasn't the main event anymore? Buckle up because this silent stadium showdown is messier than a fast food bag in the backseat. You won't believe her reaction.
Unfortunately, news broke that Caitlin Clark unfortunately has sustained a quad strain injury from the sound of it and is out for, it sounds like, at least 2 weeks. Justin, did you have some more info on that?
Yeah, 2 weeks that she's out with a quad strain injury. The Fever head coach, Stephanie White, this is a quote from her talking about this. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is a competitor and wants to play. Obviously, everyone wants to watch her play, but for me, it's about making sure we address this in a way that doesn't affect her long term.
Sounds totally reasonable. I think obviously she's instrumental to what that team does.
Angel Reese strutted into that empty arena like it was Madison Square Garden, and she was headlining Beyoncé's world tour, except there was no crowd, no buzz, and no Caitlin Clark. Just the sound of missed layups, squeaky sneakers, and one lone security guard probably checking his fantasy football lineup. You could practically hear the echo every time the ball clanked off the rim. Twang. Another missed bunny. At this point, even the hoop looked like it was trying to file a restraining order.
Caitlin Clark might be a demigod. I was watching the WNBA. There was nothing on the TV, so I said, why do I just support women? I'm a proud feminist anyway. It was one of the worst things I've ever watched. All I saw was straight bricks. But Caitlin Clark might be a demigod. That girl can hoop. I will say, Caitlin Clark, your ass need a new team. The people on your team some trash. And I know you can't even tell them that they're trash, so I might need to talk to your coach. I was watching the last 4 minutes of the game. I know y'all niggas ain't watch it, so I'm going to explain it to y'all. Caitlin Clark had like 6 open passes to their teammates, wide open layups. They missed every single layup. Them niggas lost the game. And for a game, Caitlin Clark had to take a 99% contested three because she knows she can't rely on them sorry ass niggas, so she has to shoot herself. Caitlin Clark, we gonna need to find you another team. I would say pairing you with Andrew Reese would be some cinema, but if your teammates is breaking like that, your ass definitely can't be with Andrew Reese. We need to pair you up with like Asia Wilson. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
It's getting tough out here for the self-declared Bayou Barbie. She's been marketed as the face of the league, but lately she's looked more like the blooper reel. And before anyone jumps in with the usual haters gonna hate monologue, let's be real, no one's dropping their hard-earned money on courtside seats to watch someone go 2 for 17 and flex like they just cured cancer.
How do you feel about just her impact on the game, and specifically WNBA, and then their future game that they have?
With Caitlin Clark not being there for this game, it is obvious that people were not going to want to see the game without her, because it's the camaraderie. Is almost like seeing Bird against the Lakers without Magic, or Magic against Boston without Bird.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here getting double-teamed, hacked, shoved, tripped, possibly pickpocketed, and we can't rule out the occasional light assault charge. The refs? Totally unfazed. Caitlin can get rugby tackled mid-jumper, and the whistle stays holstered like it belongs to a Wild West sheriff. At this point, you half expect them to call her for interrupting the mugging. This isn't basketball, it's the Hunger Games, WNBA edition.
This is not the time to hit the panic button, but it's time to feel concerned about the Indiana Fever. They are horrible without Caitlin Clark. They look awful. Caitlin Clark is literally the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. She makes everybody around her better. Like, Lexi Hall is literally Steve Kerr. Sophie Cunningham, maybe John Paxson. Aaliyah Boston might be Horace Grant. I'm dead serious, man. This team is not good without her. Kelsey Mitchell.
Yet the moment Caitlin touches the ball, fans come alive like it's the second coming of Steph Curry and Diana Taurasi's secret love child. People are packing stadiums not for the league, not for the logo, but for Clark. She's the Engine, the show. The walking highlight reel with a 3-point laser scope and court vision sharper than your grandma's post-cataract surgery. So naturally, the league's strategy to grow the game is to ignore her brilliance. Bench her, and the arena empties faster than a dad's wallet at a Taylor Swift concert. Angel Reese can bark all she wants about being that girl, but the numbers don't lie. People are tuning in for Clark. They're buying tickets for Clark. They're learning what a pick and roll is because of Clark. The Reese stands can scream into the void, but even the void's like, yeah, I'm here for Caitlyn too.
Dig in deep. This is an athlete who has 5 million followers on social media. 5 million. And yet, only 300,000 people watch the game against Brazil. 300,000. Comparatively, the player you hate, the player you think is overrated, the player that you say is being followed by a MAGA cult and followed by a bunch of her team against Brazil drew 1.3 million viewers on television for a preseason game that they won by 64 points.
The league had a golden goose, and instead of building the nest, they decided to haze it. Caitlyn's getting clobbered every possession, and the refs are playing blind, deaf, and disinterested. It's like they've mistaken her for a tackling dummy. She gets slammed to the floor, and the official's response is basically, well, she is tall. What's next? Charging her with a foul for being unfairly talented. Meanwhile, the double standard is screaming. Reese can hack someone like she's splitting firewood and gets praised for her passion. But when Clark shows emotion, suddenly she's too competitive, too fiery, not a team player. Please. If Caitlyn blinked too hard at a ref, they'd hit her with a technical and a TED talk on sportsmanship. Fans aren't stupid, they see what's going on. That's why they're checking the schedule and only showing up when number 22 is on the roster. You think they're lining up to watch 18 missed layups and a second quarter tech for trash talk? Nah. They want magic. They want range. They want drama and dimes, not a 2-hour brickfest followed by a post-game tweet about how no one believed in her. Reese may have the sass and the swagger, but Caitlyn's got the skill and the receipts. You can't fake court vision, and you can't flex your way into being a franchise. This isn't TikTok. It's professional basketball. And if you can't finish at the rim, maybe cool it with the celebrations.
God. Angel Reese went on a tirade the other day talking about how many people are now tuning in to watch women's basketball, not just because of Caitlyn Clark, but because of Angel Reese as well. Saying a lot of women have done so much for the sport, but specifically, people are watching because of me too. That's what Angel Reese said. Folks, in last video we were talking about Kennedy Carter. It was her shot. She had a shot tonight. She could have captivated whatever 50, 60, 70, maybe 100,000 people were watching that game. She could have stole the attention span of that all the deep.
At this point, the rim's more traumatized than the opposing defense. But let's not pretend this is just a Reese versus Clark thing. This is a league-wide issue. The WNBA says it wants to grow the game, yet they're benching the one player. Everyone's watching. That's like launching a blockbuster movie and cutting the star from the final edit. Caitlyn is the box office, and the WNBA is out here fumbling the popcorn. No Caitlyn Clark, no crowd, no electricity, no reason to care. Angel Reese may be loud, but the silence in that arena said it all. So here we are again watching the WNBA try to figure out why nobody's tuning in, scratching their heads like someone just asked them to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Attendance is down, TV ratings are lukewarm unless Caitlyn Clark is on the floor. And instead of looking in the mirror, the league shrugs and blames society or misogyny, or maybe Mercury's in retrograde again. Meanwhile, the real problem is standing right in the paint, throwing elbows like it's an MMA cage. Match. Players like Angel Reese, Brittany Griner, and Dijonai Carrington are turning the court into Fight Club. At some point, someone's got to say it. People don't want to watch thuggery disguised as defense.
As you're taking a look at your screen, you're seeing a lot of empty seats, but folks, I don't want you to be alarmed. These are not empty seats. These are people actually dressed up as empty seats. That whole top row where you see 2 people in a section, 3 people in a section, nobody in a section, even in the middle row, you see it empty. I mean, it's just empty there. Where are all these people that Angel Reese are talking about? Where are all these people that Angel Reese is saying are coming to watch women's basketball? More specifically, because of her.
There's a fine line between competitive aggression and reckless intent, and some of these players didn't just cross it, they did a backflip over it, lit it on fire, and posted it to Instagram with the caption, "Come at me." It's like they genuinely believe physical violence is the same thing as good basketball. Spoiler, it's not. Take Angel Reese, for example. She walks around the court with the energy of someone who just got cut off in traffic. She's constantly flexing after fouling someone, mean-mugging like she's auditioning for a prison drama, and trash-talking like it's the only stat that matters. There's confidence, and then there's whatever this is, a bizarre cocktail of arrogance, bitterness, and delusion. And it's not just for show. These aren't harmless mind games she's swinging, shoving, and hacking like the goal is to send someone to urgent care, not keep them off the scoreboard. Then there's Brittany. Greener, back from her international detour. She was welcomed home like a hero, and sure, we were all glad she got out of Russia, but since then, she's brought more brute force than basketball finesse. She's elbowing people into next week, lumbering around the court like Godzilla in a headband, daring anyone to challenge her in the paint. The league loves to parade her around as a symbol of resilience, but the truth? Watching her play sometimes feels less like basketball and more like a WWE match that forgot to end in a pin.
Fever showed up and showed out in its blowout win over the Chicago Sky. The game was filled with a bunch of drama. There was a lot of tension between Angel and Caitlin, and I'm here to tell you, Angel did speak with reporters immediately after the game. Caitlin Clark captured a triple-double, and with all that being said, roll the footage.
How did you feel like you guys did in those 3 areas?
Yeah, I don't think we did them at the best that we could. Obviously, first game, we got to look back at the film and do things better. I think we definitely had good spurts where we could see that we could definitely get back and definitely rebound and definitely play in transition. So I think we'll just go back.
And then there's Dejanai Carrington, who's got the subtlety of a bulldozer. Her defensive strategy seems to be cause chaos and hope the refs are asleep. There's no art to it, just nonstop aggression. And don't be fooled into thinking it's about toughness or heart. It's not. It's about intimidation, cheap shots, hard fouls, the occasional body slam disguised as a box out. She's not trying to stop you, she's trying to hurt you. And somehow that's becoming the new standard in the league. But let's talk about the elephant in the gym, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin steps onto the court smiling, poised, and then casually drops a 30-footer like she's ordering coffee. No drama. No scowl, no flexing. Just skill, precision, vision, and an undeniable sense of joy that fans actually want to watch. She's not throwing elbows, she's throwing dimes. Her game is slick, smooth, and creative. She brings a Steph Curry level of artistry to a league that still seems obsessed with Charles Oakley-style bruising. And what does she get for it? She gets mugged. She gets blindsided, body-checked, hip-tossed, smacked in the face, and somehow the refs act like she's invisible. Every time she hits the floor, the whistle stays in the ref's pocket like it owes them money. Players are doing jiu-jitsu on her in transition, and the officials are just standing there, blank-faced, waiting for halftime snacks. Honestly, you'd get more protection walking through a haunted house blindfolded.
I might have to repeat it like 50 more times because y'all suck. Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all tell us just how amazing Angel Reese is. Y'all tell us how y'all ride or die with Angel Reese. And you know what? This ain't on Angel Reese. This isn't even about Angel Reese. It's about y'all. You suck. All of y'all suck.
The inconsistency in officiating isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. Caitlin Clark is getting hit with the kind of force that would earn a flagrant 2 in the NBA. And yet she's expected to just get up and play on. No calls, no consequences, and if she dares to react even a flinch of frustration, technical foul, of course. Meanwhile, players like Reese can mock, scream, and gesture wildly at opponents and referees without so much as a warning. The double. Standard isn't just obvious, it's flaunted. But the real tragedy isn't just the bias. It's that the league is standing by and doing nothing. The WNBA says it wants growth. It wants respect. It wants to be seen on the same level as the NBA. But it's hard to take that seriously when officials are missing blatant fouls, and the front office acts like this chaos is somehow good for the game. It's not. It's bad basketball. And more importantly, it's boring. Fans want talent, they want finesse. They want drama, storytelling, and skill. What they don't want is a glorified slap fight in sneakers. They don't tune in to watch players get jumped for playing well. They're not interested in another slow-motion hack job while announcers try to spin it as just a hard foul. It's not inspiring. It's not empowering. It's lazy. It's reckless. And it's pushing away the very audience the league desperately needs to keep.
How much this continues. Is there going to be a fall off, weeks to come? Is there going to be a fall off in the viewers weeks to come? And if it continues to make that difference in the sales and in the output of what everything the brand is doing, then it's going to raise another situation to where people got to put way more respect on Caitlin Clark's name.
What makes it even more ridiculous is that Caitlin Clark isn't even the one starting drama. She's not calling anyone out, not talking trash, not throwing tantrums, she's just hooping. And for that, she gets clobbered and blamed in the same breath. Fans say she's too good. Players say she's too hyped. And commentators twist themselves into knots trying to explain why the MVP of the public eye is somehow a problem. Spoiler, she's not. She's the solution. If anything, she's saving this league from total obscurity. Imagine a WNBA where skill mattered more than swagger, where you didn't have to risk a concussion just to get an open shot, where referees didn't need a guide dog and a pair of binoculars to call a foul, where the league protected its best players instead of punishing them. That's the league people would pay to watch. That's the league that could grow. That's the league Caitlin Clark could build if the league would just get out of its own way. Instead, it seems determined to smother its own success. It keeps enabling players who confuse brute force with talent and penalizing the ones who actually make the game beautiful. It's like having a gourmet chef in the kitchen and choosing microwave nachos instead. At some point, someone in charge needs to realize thuggery doesn't fill seats. Talent does. Joy does. Greatness does.
Indiana Fever ticket prices are plummeting. Since Caitlin Clark's injury and minimum 2-week absence were announced on Monday, fans are second-guessing how much they're willing to pay to go to a game. Even the get-in price to the Fever's said rivalry game dropped from $86 to $25. It's also worth noting these two road games were expected to be huge, so they were moved to bigger arenas. In fact, the NBA's largest arena in United Center. According to TickPick, the average purchase price for the 5 games until Caitlin is expected to return is down almost $60. The 5 remaining road games in June following Caitlin's expected return still have a get-in price that exceeds $100.
Right now, the WNBA looks more like a gladiator pit than a professional sports league. And while some may cheer for the chaos, the casual fan, the one the league actually needs, is turning the channel. They didn't come for wrestling. They came for basketball. Unless the league wakes up, starts protecting players like Clark, calls games with integrity, and holds the enforcers accountable, those fans aren't coming back. So don't be shocked when attendance drops. Don't act surprised when the ratings only spike for one player, and don't clutch your pearls when people say, "I'm only watching for Caitlin," because the rest of it? Right now it's not a game, it's a sideshow, and nobody pays premium prices to watch a train wreck.